Hello, people of the internet, and to all watching on YouTube. My name is Matt, and welcome to Viva Media. We have begun to create content for all our social media platforms, including here on YouTube, so please subscribe and hit that like button for more future content. So guys, let's break it down. There's no secret that many filmmakers and marketing specialists today are able to film content from home. Yes, I am currently saying that from a studio with backdrops and fancy tripods and cameras and light stands and lenses, but that's not to say that it can't be done from home just as well and just as effectively. But even with social distancing practices still in place, one can still make an excellent video from home that attracts the right attention. So we put together a quick guide with 7 tips and tricks. This is 5. 7 tips and tricks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 tips and tricks so you'll know what your options are when your set is limited. There are so many exciting projects that you could be embarking on to communicate or market your business with video. So, tip number 1, let there be lights. Lighting can make a huge difference when it comes to the quality of a final professional grade video. If your lighting isn't properly placed, the video can look quite amateur, even if you've got a great script, a great setting, and the people involved are stellar. So when you're filming at home, use things like sunlight through windows as much as possible. Natural light in the morning and evening is ideal, but if this isn't an option, make sure to invest in top-tier lighting equipment to compensate. Most people think that cameras are everything when it comes to making a good video. Lighting is everything when it comes to making a good video. Tip number 2, keep an eye on your eye. One surefire way to make your video look amateurish is if you have poor planning with your camera placement. Your subject's eye especially, whether that be you filming your own interview or you filming somebody else's interview, is especially important. Your subject's eye line should be in line or just a little bit above your camera lens. Psychologically, this lens is replacing the eyes of your viewers, right? So if your camera is placed even a little bit higher than the eye line of your subjects, then it could give your viewer the really odd perspective of looking down on someone. So eye line is key. Tip number 3, editing programs. So it may seem worth the money saved to opt for something cheap or free, but this isn't always a good idea when it comes to editing applications. You definitely don't want a watermark on your videos. Free applications generally will restrict or limit the functionality of the program until you pay for it. Furthermore, you also want a program that has user-friendly tools in abundance. Wave.video is an excellent choice, as well as things like Camtasia, iMovie, and then you can get more advanced with things like Adobe Premiere Pro or Final Cut Pro. Ultimately, it will come down to your budget, so just make sure the app you choose does not have a built-in watermark. And make sure it's possible to add text to your video. You can trim it, you can crop it, etc. Make sure that it has all the functionality that you need for what you're trying to do. Tip number 4, sound. Many beginner content creators and filmmakers will forget the importance of sound quality. This is also very important in a home setting, right? That isn't a studio. The space itself can affect how the equipment picks up sound. And the average home may seem naturally quiet, but there are many small background noise issues that you could discover, such as air conditioning, sound from outside thin windows, creaking, etc. And you don't want that. Sound is important. Generally, built-in microphones on cameras or built-in microphones on laptops aren't the best option. Getting a microphone that is separate from your device generally will generate better sound. Keep it close to your subject, but not in frame, and you'll be much better off. Tip number 5, keep it simple. It may seem easy to go a little nuts once you get the hang of editing software. There's crazy effects and background replacements and star wipes and explosions and things, but that doesn't mean that you should use them. Using a clean and simple editing style in the vast majority of cases will look much more professional. In general, you should edit your videos to clean up background noise, raise audio levels to an acceptable listening level, adjust things like exposure and color correction, cut out awkward pauses, and add background music or transitions. Keep it simple. Tip number 6, the rule of thirds. There is only one rule to rule them all, and that is the rule of thirds. The most basic and most fundamental principle of framing and composing your video is the rule of thirds, and it still applies to casual home video. The rule of thirds refers to a 3x3 invisible grid that is laid over the field you're filming. Rather than placing your subject in the center square, they should actually be placed along one of the grid lines. The spots where the lines cross are great areas of focus, so try to place the important video elements in those spots if possible. This doesn't need to be followed all the time, but of course, if you're still a beginner, then applying the rule of thirds can help keep your shots fresh and stand out from the crowd. And finally, number 7, background. So when you're filming from home and you have little to work with in terms of a set, you really need to heavily consider background and overall shot composition. Think of a video as a layer of 3 focal points that don't distract your viewers from your subjects. This gives the set depth without pulling away focus from your subject, and your subject should remain the main focal point. If your subject happens to be somewhere like in the middle ground, you should place something to the side and in front of your subject. And that could be anything like a plant, a desk, a table, anything that is relevant and motivated by your set. Your third layer should always be behind you, something like furniture or wall decor or art or something like that. You need, especially when you're filming at home, you need to keep things interesting. So anything you can do to spice up your background or your composition of your scene is super, super important. And that's it. Of course, there's always room for improvement in all aspects of video production, but with these 7 tips, you'll be armed with a good base knowledge to increase the quality of your content, especially at home. Let us know in the comments down below if you're going to use any of our tips in future content, or perhaps if you already use them. Or if you're already using some of these tips or have other ideas or thoughts or opinions on how to improve them, share it in the comment section below. We want to hear your experience. And of course, please don't forget to subscribe and like to Viva Media for more future content. And all our social links are, of course, in the description. My name is Matt. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.